Hey guys, welcome to episode 3 of Draw Near Moment. Thanks for joining me. Let's do something stupid. A few months ago, I was working at my office and I had to use the restroom, so I went to the restroom and I got done with my business. And as I was leaving the stall, I started thinking about something that happened the day before. And it was a funny thing. Like, I thought it was funny. So in that moment, I don't know if you've ever done this before, a big grin just came across my face, just a big grin, and I was just like holding back the laughter. Now, this would normally be okay, right? People would look at you a little weird, but it's fine. But you gotta picture the whole situation here. I'm leaving the stall, big grin on my face, and then, guess what? A coworker walks in. We both make eye contact, and he just bursts out laughing. Now, he doesn't know why he's laughing. He's just like, this dude just came out of the stall, big grin on his face, like, I don't know what's going on there, and I'm just backpedaling like, whoa, like, what happened? Like, why is he laughing at me? And I'm like, oh, I had a big grin on my face. Like, I'm just back, like, what do you say in those moments? Like, what do you do with that? And I don't think there was anything I could say. I was just like, I was thinking about something funny, and and anyway, but in that moment, like, I was messed up. I didn't know what to do. And I just kind of, like, left the stall awkwardly, like, okay, and just kind of in shame. And now that's stupid, right? That's pretty dumb, but that's not quite the stupid that I want to talk about today. The stupid that I want to talk about is taking risks. Now, a lot of us, we do not like the idea of taking a risk. We like, doing the same thing every day. We like consistency. We like the idea of risk, but when it actually comes down to actually pulling the trigger and going after something, we don't, a lot of us have struggle doing that. But oftentimes, it's the risk takers that are the ones that benefit the most in this life. They're the ones that we put on a pedestal. They're the Albert Einsteins and the Steve Jobs, and those are technology people. The George Washingtons and all those. They're the people who were willing enough, that believed in themselves enough, or perhaps just believed that God wanted them to do something enough in order to go after something huge. Now, when I was thinking about this, now maybe not the God thing, but when I was thinking about this, there's one new thing that just came out within the past couple months, I think, maybe in the past couple weeks, that came out in the app stores. I believe it's on Android and iPhone. Now, this is a stupid idea. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm just going to be blunt. This is not a smart idea. It's called Yo. Now, if I've not downloaded it, I have no interest in downloading it, but there are a lot of people that have. In fact, 500,000 people have downloaded this thing. Basically, it's like text messaging, but you only get one phrase, and it's yo. So it's basically you and your friends or you and your family going back and forth. Yo. 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 Now, it's a dumb idea, right? It doesn't make sense. But maybe you get a little bit of the vision once you hear the description of the app. It says, yo, the simplest and most efficient communication tool in the world. I have to imagine some British dude that's much more charismatic than me saying this. Yo is a single tap, zero character communication tool. Yo is everything and anything. That's a little bit of a stretch. It all depends on you, the recipient, and the time of the yo. Want to say good morning? Just say yo. Want to say, baby, I'm thinking about you? Yo. Done with my meeting. Come to my office. Yo. Are you there? Yo. You determine the context. We don't want your email, your Facebook, or Twitter. There's no search, no nothing, just yo. Open the app, tap on a friend, and that's it. The possibilities are endless. It's that simple. Yo. Now, you probably agree with me at this point, unless you actually use the app or whatever, that this is not a really smart idea. But there are a lot of people who disagree with me. In fact, this app has raised $1.5 million in funding, which is insane. And I don't even understand what they're funding exactly. It seems like it would already have been all done by now, but whatever. But yeah, and it's a dumb idea, but sometimes it's the stupid ideas that actually, once they catch traction, and once people catch the vision that you are going after, somehow, some way, it actually has a way of being this unstoppable for. Sometimes it's the dumb ideas that when it actually plays out, it actually works out really well. And when I think about this, I think about a character in the Bible named Jonathan. And somehow I just went to my trash. Let's go back to my notes, and I lost it. But I think about a character named Jonathan, and his people were at war with the Philistines, and there was this big standstill. And Jonathan gets this crazy idea during all of this that he believes that God is in, and so let's read it. So he gets a crazy idea. They're at the standstill, so let's just get into that. 1 Samuel 14:8. Jonathan says, "Come on then, we will cross over toward them and let them see us. If they say to us, 'Wait there until we come to you,' we will stay where we are, and we will not go up to them. But if they say, 'Come up to us,' we will go up, because that is our sign the Lord has given them into our hands." So in other words, Jonathan's kind of making a deal with, and he's actually talking to his armor bearer at this point. So it's just two guys, Jonathan and his armor bearer. And he's making a deal with them, saying, "Hey, we're gonna go up to the line, and we're gonna see what happens. And if they come after us, we're gonna just run and be done with it or whatever. But if they say come up to us, if they say, 'Hey, if you come over here, we're gonna teach you a lesson,' we're gonna take that as a sign that God has delivered them into our hands." Now it says, "So both of them showed themselves to the Philistine outpost." This is verse 11. "Look," said the Philistines, "the Hebrews are crawling out of their holes they are hiding in." The men of the outpost shouted to Jonathan and his armor bearer, "Come up to us, and we will teach you a lesson." Now this was the sign that they were hoping for, so they go after it. So Jonathan and his armor bearer climb up, Jonathan said to his armor bearer, "Climb up after me. The Lord has given them into the hand of Israel." So Jonathan climbed up using his hands and feet, with his armor bearer right behind him. The Philistines fell before Jonathan, and his armor bearer followed and killed behind him. In that first attack, Jonathan and his armor bearer killed some 20 men in that area of about half an acre. Now this is a stupid idea. This is two people taking on 20, and somehow they win. But I don't even know if Jonathan even knew what was going to happen after this, because not only did they win this small skirmish, but it actually inspired the rest of his army to go after behind him. And they changed the face of this war. This one act of being courageous, doing something stupid, doing something crazy, actually changed the war. Now, I think about these two things. Think about the Yoav, think about this. And I'm sure there are some crazy ideas that you have thought about or looked on Kickstarter or whatever, and you were just like, "Man, that is a dumb idea." But somehow, some way, it caught traction. Like, I can't believe people are paying money for this. And I think about all this stuff, and I'm like, what stupid idea am I not going after? What idea have I had in my head that I just talked myself out of at some point? And about 2 years ago, I had the idea for the show that you are watching right now, called Draw Near Moment. I had the idea. And I dealt with a lot of doubts. I dealt with a lot of just trying to get an idea and a sense of whether or not this was really something I should go after. But in the end, I had two things that kind of boiled to the surface. There, on one hand, I had to come to grips with these two things. One, what was the worst thing that could happen? And the worst thing that could happen is nobody watches it. I couldn't think of anything worse than that. Just nobody watches it. But what's the best thing that could happen? Well, perhaps thousands, perhaps even millions, perhaps even billions. Who knows? The internet reaches lots of people. Who knows? Could be reached and changed, and God could maybe shatter walls that are stopping people from being reached by Him. And when I leverage those two things, I'm like, no one watches it. That's the biggest risk. It takes some of my time, versus perhaps even millions of people being reached for the kingdom of God. I'm just like, man, I have to go after this. Now, in theory, the Draw Near Moment's kind of a dumb idea. It shouldn't work. YouTube and the internet and all that stuff, typically God is not a huge theme on that. Now, he is in some ways, but not really in the way that this show is about. And so this is a risk. It's a risk. And honestly, I had to come to grips with the whole idea of putting myself out there, which is, anyone who knows me, that's not something I like to do. But I finally did it, and I finally went after it, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what God is going to do with it. So it's with that I say, what stupid idea are you talking yourself out of? What stupid idea have you just not gone after? And I actually have a couple of things that I want to say that I specifically wrote for you. And here's the thing. The truth is, Christians should be the most courageous people in the world because we believe that there is a God behind us that is able to pick us up and able to guide us and able to go before us and fight our battles for us. We should be courageous. We should be some of the craziest people out there, and in a good way, doing something that other people aren't willing to try because they believe, or we believe, that God is going to pick us up. And the other idea is this, is that's actually, Jonathan is not unique, by the way. I don't know if you know this. Jonathan, even though this is a crazy idea, him going after this, he's not unique. There are tons of stories. There's David and Goliath. There's where Joshua goes around the city of Jericho and the walls fall down. There are crazy ideas of people who just had the audacity to believe that God wanted to do something special with them. And is that you? Do you believe that God wants to use you? Are you willing to take a risk on God? Are you willing to take a leap of faith and just hope and pray that God is going to catch you? Now, I want to read one quote to end this idea of let's do something stupid. And if you know who Steve Jobs is, he was the CEO of Apple. He died a couple years ago, but he was the guy that propelled Apple to be the most valuable company in the world at this point. And he's an incredible guy. He's a visionary, but he was a huge risk taker. Now, he had a lot of failures, but he had a lot of successes. The iPhone, the iPad, the MacBooks, all those things were ideas that happened under his watch. And this was a quote that he wrote at his funeral. It says, "Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They are not fond of rules. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify them, or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius, because the ones who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do." So let's continue that legacy. Man, I think that's incredible. And let's continue that. And let's do something stupid. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Draw Near Moment. I hope it was helpful. And I haven't really been asking for your feedback, but I would love to hear some feedback. So if you want to tweet at me on Twitter or Facebook, comment on the video, or YouTube me, or whatever, or comment on the YouTube, and or send me a direct message or whatever. I would love to hear your thoughts. So let me know what you think about Draw Near Moment, if it's been helpful, if there's some things you'd like me to change, or whatever. I would love to hear it. And also, I think some of the best ideas for Draw Near Moment episodes are on your heads. So if you have an idea for an episode, send it to me, and if I think it'll help people, I will do it. I'm all for it. I want to help people. That's the whole idea behind Draw Near Moment. And as always, subscribe if you want to stay in the loop with what I'm doing with Draw Near Moment, and follow me on Twitter. Those are the two best ways to do that. So anyway, thanks for joining me today, and I will see you next week for another episode of Draw Near Moment.